Hi, my name is Mike Booker, and I'm with Everon Technology Services. We'll go ahead and get started in just a few minutes. We're still waiting on a few people to join us. Hey, thank you for your patience. We're still waiting on a few people who may be running a little bit late to join us, so just hold tight and we'll get started in a few moments. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Michael Booker, and I'm with Everon Technology Services. Today I'll be here to talk about how a social media strategy can help transform your business online. Now, we will not be taking any questions during the presentation for the sake of time. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to send an email to info@everonit.com, and we'll be sure to have a technician respond appropriately. Now, a little bit about who Everon is. Everon is a division of Plum Choice. We have been in business for 8 years, and Plum Choice has been in business for 10 years. Everon is a leading provider of technology to small businesses nationwide and has even been included on the Inc. 5000 list. To find us online, you can visit www.everonit.com or also find us on both Facebook and Twitter, and that's facebook.com/EveronIT and twitter.com@EveronIT. Now, how does social media fit into your marketing strategy? Social media marketing is really another plank of your overall marketing campaign. It's interactive and it's permission based. Now, what this means for you is the only people who will see your message on social media are people who have already opted in to receive your message. Now, why is social media important? Mainly because it's very targeted. The audience of social media is extremely targeted. You have the ability to see what your users' interests are, their likes, their dislikes, their hobbies, and so on and so forth. By analyzing this information, you'll be able to more effectively target your status updates and messages to your audience. Volume-wise, Facebook has over 500 million users worldwide. 200 million of these users are in the US, and 70% of which log in daily. Now, to put those numbers in perspective a little bit, if Facebook were a country, it'd be the third largest country behind China and India. Social media also levels the playing field. Before, if you want to reach a user base as large as 500 million users, it would take a substantial budget to do so. But with social media, you don't need such a large budget. The only requirement that you truly do need is time. Now, what type of guidelines does it take to make social media to work? Now, if you don't take anything else away from this presentation, please just listen to it. The next thing I'm about to say. Listening, listening, listening. Listening is the key to make social media work. Social media is about the conversation. It's not much of a conversation if you're the only one talking. You need to be able to not only engage in the conversation, but bring some type of value to the conversation when you're interacting. A good rule of thumb to use is the 80-20 rule. And what that simply means is if you were to make 10 updates on a particular network, 8 of those posts should be you genuinely interacting with other users, while 2 of those should be you promoting your business, service, or product. Be authentic. Being authentic is also very important on these social networks. If your message is coming across as fake or phony, it'll be very apparent to your users. And if they don't just simply block you off their news feeds, they'll mentally block you and not pay attention to any of your messages. And last but not least, consistency. Consistency is one problem or one area where I see a lot of users fall into a few traps. Mainly being when some people initially create their profiles, They'll start off with a fury of posts for the first few weeks, maybe even the first few months. Yet slowly but surely, those posts start to diminish in frequency. A good rule of thumb is you want to start low in your posting frequency and work your way up, as opposed to starting high and working your way down. If you start posting 5 posts per day for the first week and a half on these social networks, the users who are looking forward to your posts, this will become the standard in their mind for your updates. And although you may have not have officially set this standard, just the fact that that's what they've been used to seeing, that is what they'll expect, and that will be seeing 5 posts per day. So just start with something manageable and work your way up. Now the 3 social networks that I'm going to talk about today, which are Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, I'm going to go ahead and start with Facebook. Facebook originally started as a way for friends, specifically college friends and family, to stay in touch on the internet. It's grown since then exponentially into so much more, also being one of the leading forms of online advertising. As far as do's and don'ts go for Facebook, I want to start out with a few do's. A good one to start out with is do have a plan. It's very easy to waste time on Facebook, believe me, I know firsthand. So just by having a plan will help guide you and help make your time spent on these networks more effective. Now this plan doesn't have to be anything huge or intimidating to begin with. It can just be something simple as what are your goals for being on Facebook? What type of updates do you want to post? How much time per day do you want to spend on it? These are the type of things you should think about when formulating your initial plan. Also, you do want to add your Facebook URL or Facebook link to all your current marketing collateral. You want to add this to email signatures. You want to add this to business cards, white papers, brochures, or any other marketing collateral that you currently have going. Just like you would advertise your website, you want to advertise your Facebook page. As far as posting updates, you want to have your updates be interesting and interactive. A good way to have an interactive update is by doing something as easy as ask a question of the day. And that's just a question on whatever your particular niche or industry is. This does 2 things. It gives a interactive question that users can actively go ahead and answer, and it also gives the users something to look forward to each day. Like I said, this doesn't have to be anything super complex, just something to get the user's attention, and they'll motivate a response from them. As far as don'ts, one of the biggest don'ts that people are having issues with are people do not pay attention to the Facebook terms of service, specifically when running contests. Now, contests are a great way to increase your fan count on your business pages, and also just make sure your fans have something to do while they go there, and that's by giving away free items. But Facebook has changed their terms of service frequently in the past, and their latest change actually had a lot to do with contests. Specifically, you can no longer run a Facebook contest directly from your fan page's wall. What you need to do is you need to use a third-party application to run your contest. A couple of the applications that we've used at Everrun in the past are Easy Promos, the Easy Promos application, or also the Wildfire application. There are a number of other ones out there. These are just the ones that we've used and we can vouch for. Another don't that you want to stay away from is don't just go arbitrarily adding everybody on your friends list or suggesting to everybody on your friends list to like your page. Now granted, you do want your friends to like your page, and I'm sure you want to get your page in front of many eyes as possible. But also think about, not all of your friends are probably interested in whatever your brand, company, or service is. Granted, a few of them may, but I highly doubt that all of your friends are interested in what you're doing. So just take that and keep that in mind when you're suggesting who you like to send these invites out to, and just send it out to the people that you really think will be able to receive some type of value by liking your page. And to piggyback off of that, don't send mass emails or Facebook messages to your users. Now, I'm not saying don't do this at all, but if you do, just keep the frequency down to a minimum. These can become annoying if you do these very frequently, and it can prompt users to not only unlike your page, but maybe have some retrospective or negative impact on your brand as a whole. Facebook also has some tools that you can use to help manage your account and get an idea of if it's producing as it should. As far as generating more interest and impressions, Facebook has its own pay-per-click ads that you can use to advertise your page on. Pay-per-click, also known as PPC ads, are similar to Google AdWords, but they're better for impressions on Facebook, and they're typically targeted to likes. Targeting is something that I talked about briefly before, but I'm going to a little bit deeper right now. Targeting is simply reaching out to your personal friends and suggesting that they like your page. Like I said, you only want to suggest your page to people that you really think will benefit or receive some kind of value from liking your page. What you can also use targeting to do is to cross-promote with complementary brands, and you can do this by posting on their walls or tagging their particular pages in your own status updates. And what this will do is not only will it post a message on their wall, it will post a message on your wall as well. And typically, as long as you're not being negative about a particular page or company, and you're giving some type of value and it's relevant, other brands won't mind when you're doing this. Facebook also has a stats and insights portion built into the page that's only accessible to the page's admin. This is great because it allows you to see not only your total fans that have liked your page over time, but it also allows you to see active users, what type of interactions and feedbacks your posts are getting, demographic information, and traffic sources. There's a wealth of information here, and it's really up to you to determine which stats are important based on whatever the goals of your current campaign are. But a couple of just baseline foundation stats that you can monitor are total fan count, active users, and interactions. You don't want to go solely on the total amount of fans that have liked your page, mainly because just because a fan has liked your page at some point in time during their Facebook span, that does not mean they've ever returned to your page since initially liking it. That's why total fans isn't as good of a representation on what's going on your page as active users are, because active users is a representation of the amount of users that are actively seeing and interacting with your content. And last but not least, we have custom page / branding. And what this is Facebook allows you to create a custom tab that can act as a landing page for the user when they initially visit your profile for the first time. In the past, Facebook used something that was known as FBML, which was Facebook's markup language, but they now use iframes, and there are other applications out there that allow you to create these landing pages. You can either create these pages by coding them yourselves, or you can simply create a graphic that has whatever your message and call to action is for your particular page and upload that through one of Facebook's many applications. One that we particularly used again for this was Involver, INVOLVER. And this application allows you to not only code a page, but if you simply just want to upload a graphic, it gives you that option as well. The next network that I want to talk about is Twitter. Twitter is a micro-blogging platform, and you probably have heard that Twitter only allows you to use updates with 140 characters. This becomes kind of tricky at times, but it's definitely doable. As far as do's and don'ts with Twitter go, granted you are limited to 140 characters, but that still is not an excuse to use proper grammar or to use improper grammar. You do want to use proper grammar on Twitter. Granted, it may be a little bit more difficult to get your particular message or updates out there, but what I have found in the past is there's always a way that you can shorten your message and make it fit for Twitter. And on the other hand, improper grammar just doesn't look too professional coming from a brand or business. Also, use keywords and utilize Twitter search. Twitter has a search feature built in, and it's accessible by visiting search.twitter.com. Once you visit the website, there will be a search box where you can go ahead and type in a keyword or phrase. What this will do is it'll search Twitter, and it'll search to find users who are talking about that particular keyword or phrase. The way that you utilize this for your own purposes are look for users that are having issues or may have a particular question based on whatever those keywords that you're searching for. If you could go ahead and reach out to those users to answer their question or help solve whatever issue they're having, that does loads to help establish yourself as an industry expert and your thought leadership around that particular topic. By just going and reaching out to these users, you're presenting value and not asking for anything in return. Trust me, that stands out in people's minds, and they love when things like that happen to them. As far as don'ts, it really goes as much what I talked about before with the 80-20 rule. Don't over promote yourself on Twitter. Out of 10 posts, remember 8 of those should be you interacting, retweeting, or shouting out users who've mentioned you. Just interacting, getting involved in the conversation. You also don't want to get too personal or be negative on Twitter. Now, obviously, sometimes your anger and heated debates arise, but remember, you're representing a brand or a company, and you need to keep that in mind and keep that level of professionalism apparent. So if any negative comments do come, you can either simply just delete them and mark them as spam to begin with, or another good way to handle it is reach out to the user who had the objection in a respectful manner, assess and try and work out whatever the issue was, and just leave it like that. You don't want to be, it's not a good practice to be seen as running away from negative comments, because in a sense that may validate the comment and it looks like it is true and you're running scared because you don't want to address it. Also, don't overtweet. Odds are if you're overtweeting, you're probably just shouting at the community and you're not listening and engaging in conversations. So just, once again, listen, engage, and interact with the users. Like we went over Facebook tools, Twitter also has a couple of tools that are good to use and to help manage your account, specifically CodeTweet and Hootsuite. What these allow you to do are they have a number of features, but some of the key features are they allow you to schedule tweets for the future. So say you want to sit down at the beginning of the week and schedule out your posts for that week. These tools will allow you to do so, and that really helps when you have a busy schedule or you just don't have time to get to these networks and post the updates throughout the week. These tools also allow you to have multiple users or admins manage a particular account, and it allows you to assign tweets to specific users. Another good feature that's on Hootsuite I know is Hootsuite allows you to not only have multiple users manage an account, but it also allows you to manage multiple accounts, i.e. your Facebook account, your Twitter account, and your LinkedIn account. Hootsuite allows you to manage all these accounts within this one platform. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for B2B businesses. It initially started out as a way for users to grow and expand their professional network. A lot of people call LinkedIn the professional Facebook. This is where you go for businesses. Granted, for B2C stuff, Facebook and Twitter typically have a better advantage and is more keen to their user base. But for B2B, like I said, LinkedIn is where you want to be at. As far as do's and don'ts for LinkedIn, remember, professionalism is key. So you do want to have a well-written profile. Also, do use keywords where appropriate in your profile to maximize your search engine, your searchability within the platform. Another pretty basic one is do have a professional profile image up there. Mind you, this is a professional network. Don't put an image up that you wouldn't feel comfortable with a potential employer, recruiter, or client seeing. Don't send automated messages when you're reaching out to connect with people. All it takes is a little bit of personalization, and that goes a long way when you're reaching out to connect with users. Also, don't share what you wouldn't be comfortable with a future employer or client or recruiter reading. LinkedIn gives you the ability to share your tweets, it gives you the ability to share your blog, and post other updates. And remember, keep this in mind. This is your professional network. 9 times out of 10, what you share on Facebook is going to be different than what you're going to share on LinkedIn. So just keep that in mind and only share what you want others to see. And last but not least, just don't do anything you would not feel comfortable with other users seeing in your professional life. Like I said, you want to keep these two areas separate, so only put what you want your professional network of users to see on your company or personal LinkedIn pages. Now, analytics and targeting tools. There are a number of different analytics and targeting tools that we like to use. Facebook has, like I said, insights built in, but Twitter doesn't have a built-in analytics and tracking tool to use. So some of the ones that we like to use are Klout. And what we use Klout for is to target industry influencers within Twitter. What this allows us to do is, well, what Klout does is it measures influence based on a scale of 1 to 100. This influence is determined off of your true reach, which is the number of people you influence. It's also influenced by amplification, which is how much you influence your users or your followers. And last but not least, it's influenced by network impact, which is your influence of your network. We also like to use WeFollow. And WeFollow is a directory where you can submit your own Twitter name with up to 5 keywords attached to it. So when users are searching for a particular keyword, and it tracks and ranks users based on the amount of times that they've used that keyword in their updates. So it's a good website. It's a free website to check out. It only takes a few minutes to go ahead and submit your link or your Twitter profile. A couple other ones that we like to use to target influencers are Spot Influence and Peer Index. These work similar to both Klout and WeFollow, but it's just other networks that you can help spread your profile out on with. A couple external collateral tools are Bitly, and if you're not familiar with bit.ly, also known as Bitly, that's a URL shortener, and this really comes in handy for Twitter. Seeing how Twitter only has a 140 character limit, if you want to post a URL in your Twitter update, if that URL is very long, it's going to limit greatly on the amount of characters that you can use in your update. A service like Bitly, you're able to copy and paste your URL into their search bar, and once you click shorten URL, it'll give you a concise and compact version of that URL to share within your Twitter update that allow you to use more characters. Also TwitPic, which is just Twitter's platform that allows you to post and share pictures, YFrog, and TwitVid, and both of these are just another image and video sharing platforms that Twitter has that allow you to share images and video. Now next, you need to really develop a plan of attack. Now when you're developing this plan of attack, you really need to ask you a few questions, and it starts with the pre-plan. When you're pre-planning, you want to look at how does information flow within your industry. What social networks are my users hanging out in? What influences my customers? What channels are we currently using? Are we using Facebook? Are we using Twitter? Are we using YouTube? Are we using LinkedIn? What's working? What's not? Where are we? Where do people get information? These are things that you should be looking at. Just initially assess how you're going to develop your plan. Next, you want to think about what do you want to accomplish? What are your goals for your social media campaign? Is it lead generation? Is it social authority? It may simply just be customer retention or to increase brand awareness. These goals are going to be different from client to client, customer to customer, business to business. There's no right or wrong one. It really just depends on what you're looking to do. Once you have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, you want to set specific goals. And these goals are to increase traffic or opt-ins to your website. They could be you want to create business partnerships through your social media efforts. Or you want to increase search engine results, generate leads, or increase revenue. Like I said, these goals really just depend on what you're specifically trying to achieve from this platform. You want to identify a call to action, whether you want them to go to a squeeze page or what. What really just comes down to what do you want them to do. And one of our favorites is how do you measure ROI? That's the main thing that lots of businesses want to know is how can they measure ROI with social media. Now you can't just go with traditional financial ROI. You have to also look at non-financial. So when you're measuring non-ROI, or excuse me, when you want to measure ROI from a non-financial standpoint, you want to look at things like visitors, word of mouth promotion, how many page views you're receiving, and fans and followers that you have. And from the financial standpoint, you want to look at what type of sales, revenue, or transactions that you're receiving from your social media efforts. Next, establish a before and after baseline. What did the environment look like before and after you ran specific promotions? Diagram exact dates where social activities and milestones occurred. When you created your Facebook page, when you started your Facebook ad campaigns, your first 500, 1,000, 10,000 fans. These are all key efforts that you should be tracking for your baseline. And last but not least, we also want to extend a special offer for everybody who's viewing this. What we have here is a social media in a box package. This package is valued at $1,199, but with this special offer, you can get it at $699. And what this package is it's a one-stop shop, a complete setup to get you set up, ready to go for your social media platforms. It includes a setup and configuration of Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn accounts. And not only will we set up and configure them, we'll create a customized Facebook landing tab, like I mentioned beforehand, a customized Facebook profile image, customized Twitter page backgrounds. We'll also link all the accounts back to your company's website, make sure they talk to each other, and also provide a best practices guide and give you a basic overview about these social networks. Now, to take advantage of this offer, just visit www.everonitsupport.com/social media webinar offer. Once again, that's www.everonitsupport.com/social media webinar offer. And once again, if you have any more questions, just email us at info@everonit.com. I want to take this time to thank you all very much for sitting here and listening to this webinar. I hope you all were able to pick up some valuable tips and some helpful things that you can take back to your own campaigns. Please take care, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you.